Back at it after mathematics. Now I'm saying it this time.
He's stealing my line. This mother.
Yes, mother bleeper saying George's line, but they don't know which George it is, so who cares?
It's the G and G, man. It's the two G's in a pod. Welcome.
Episode 19. This episode is brought to you by Dwyane Wade.
It's brought to you by number 3.
Today is a very special day in Dade County, or shall we call it
Wade County.
Wade County.
Yes, sir.
As it is the last home game for Dwyane Wade. Now, George, you told me off air that they're playing again on Thursday. I was sure the last games were on Wednesday night.
So he's playing either tomorrow or Thursday, and they're playing at the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
And his BFF LeBron James is going to be in attendance.
So that's why LeBron said, "Yo, I'm out for the whole season because I'm going to watch Dwyane Wade and maybe Chris Paul and maybe Carmelo, wherever Carmelo is right now." So
I'm telling you right now, if LBJ is a true friend, he'd have gone to Miami to see him play tonight. But I guess he ain't that good.
But Dwyane Wade, man, I want to get into some Dwyane Wade talk because I know he's your all-time favorite. His career is coming down to a close. One last dance. He needs one dance.
Another Drake line for George. Everyone catch his Drake obsession. He's the biggest fake Drake hater I've ever seen in my life.
So I gotta ask you this one. Like, you must have a top 3 Dwyane Wade moments.
I have 5.
Can you actually bring it down?
I have 5. I can fire them up right now for you.
Okay, so go ahead, man.
So my top 5. 5th place is his first year in the playoffs. He had that amazing shot against the Hornets.
Oh yeah,
which shocked the world, and that's what got him his first taste of
stardom,
of big name, big star status. So I gotta go with that as the number 5. The number 4 moment is when he threw the ball into the air in 2006 when it was finished. It was over. He officially pulled an MJ and he brought the Heat down from 0-2 to beat the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, so his first title. Okay.
He ran to the baseline and he just threw the ball in the air and he went crazy. And of course it happened in Dallas. So it just made that victory that much better. My 3rd place is probably, I would say, there was a year where during the Big 3 era, I think this was in 2012. This was after the year where the Heat lost in the playoffs. And LBJ was getting all this flack for being unclutch because he could not post up JJ Barea. And they were playing the Pacers. Again, I can't remember if it's playoffs or a regular season. I think playoffs. They were playing Indiana Pacers the following year, and LBJ called him over like this, come here. And he gave him the ball with about 10 seconds left in the game. And D. Wade took the ball. He pump faked Paul George. Paul George bit. He jumped into him, and he sank the dagger J right in Paul George's face. No foul called, unfortunately. It was clearly a foul, but he kind of like baited him into that. That right there was symbolic. That was like, okay, this is LBJ proving to y'all that he is not that clutch. Now, of course, he changed the entire reputation because everyone has seen LBJ come up big time clutch. But that was, to me, such a crazy moment because I've never seen a person pause the play during an ISO and like call over a guy and say, come here.
Yeah.
And he handed him the ball like it was football. And then my top 2 are dunks, bro. Okay?
Oh, dunks. Okay.
For the 2nd place dunk, it's that harassment of a dunk he pulled on Anderson Varejao when he slammed right into him, and Anderson Varejao went flying and his poofy hair went up and down on the floor, and the homie D. Wade did his best.
Oops, there it is.
No, he did his best imitation of like George Benson or some shit. You know? he did the dance. And
that was actually kind of whack, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that dance was so trash.
No, my number 1 was a spin move dunk he pulled over Serge Ibaka, and this was not a playoff game. It was a regular season game, and if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It's one of the best dunks, in-game dunks I've seen in my life. He's posting up at the baseline towards his team's bench, and this is in Miami. And I don't know for what reason, but a switch happened, and then Ibaka was on him. He took Ibaka to town, man. He did, like a hezzy or two here and there, and then he flew past Ibaka. But Ibaka, because he's so long, he caught up, and he went right beside D, and D did a spin move around him, jumped too early, I think. Too early, because if you've seen how far he was from the hoop, you would have said, man, this guy is not going to dunk it. And he somehow extended, and he dunked that shit. That play is a play I watched live, and I couldn't believe it happened. It's one of the best in-game dunks I've ever seen.
I've never heard of this dunk. I'm very surprised that I haven't heard of this. I might have to incorporate these videos into our YouTube video so that like the listeners can actually watch this as you're describing it. Yo, let me watch this real quick. Oh my God!
It's a manhandle of a dunk, bro.
Wait, did he do?
This.
Okay, this was during the Big Three era for sure.
This was Big Three era when everyone said he's done. He doesn't have an option anymore.
Oh yeah, but
he
this was
dummied everyone.
This was definitely during that huge. Oh look, Ray Allen is there. This must have been their second peat then. That was like their 2P, right? Wow, that was ridiculous. Look,
it was a dummy play. Boom.
The camera cut it off. They didn't want us to see him.
Past Harden, past Ibaka. He did a spin move around Ibaka. Boom.
Wait, Harden is there, so that was probably that was their first title then, because Harden left after the first title, and Dwyane Wade, and that was during like when there was a huge that was the biggest rivalry that year was OKC Miami, and everybody was taking those guys in 2K. I'm surprised you didn't mention the one that like sticks out the most to me.
Okay.
You probably already know where I'm going with this. It was his second season, and he blocked the hell out of Amari Stoudemire, and then he just chucked up the 75-footer.
Yeah, honestly,
come on, man.
Honestly,
that's top 10.
I don't really care that much about that play because it was more of like a lucky like play. It's very hard to say I planned to actually hit that shot.
But it's not just the shot; it's the whole sequence. You have a guy. He stuffed a guy who was at his peak in that season, and you got Dwyane Wade, who's a sophomore. And he swatted the hell out of that. Not only did he swat it, but the ball was still in his hand, and then he just chucked it.
He ran down and boom, he chucked it.
Of course, it wasn't like predetermined or anything, but the fact that he did that, it was so perfectly executed. I just think it was really insane. It's not a dunk. It was not an alley-oop lob to like LeBron James. That also I would probably put, even though LeBron made the dunk.
Yeah.
But that is an iconic dunk. Like I would have put that in the top 10 too.
Honestly, I know exactly the dunk, but I'm just talking about these top 5 plays that mean
something
the
to
most.
You. Yeah.
Like to me, honestly, man, that's what I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to modify your.
This guy's hating. He's trying to destroy my top 5.
Yeah, I'm like intimidating your little Dylon top 5 there, but Dwyane Wade, man. So why him? Why do you choose this guy?
I can't even explain it, man. Honestly, I started to be a Heat fan back when I was a kid. I'm not sure if we discussed this on previous episodes.
You did.
Okay, so with the homie Ronnie Saeli.
Yeah, during the jersey era, like the throwback jerseys, you mentioned that you were already a fan.
Exactly. And then when the Heat got Tim Hardaway, I was a huge fan. I love Tim Hardaway. I actually have his jersey as well. I was
the homophobic Hardaway.
Okay. Okay.
We're not gonna explain
I'm talking
shit
about on the court Tim Hardaway. Yeah. Okay? I'm not talking about when he's doing an interview with Dan Le Batard.
Anyways, continue.
By the way, I gotta give a shout out to Dan. Dan has the best podcast going out.
Le Bastard, yeah.
Anyone that wants to laugh their ass off, and if you don't take sports too seriously, download the Dan Le Batard podcast with Stugatz.
Troll Central.
Troll Central. I love it. Anyways, so then after that whole era of the Heat, there was not really too much to be excited about. So then I started to really, I don't want to say I fell out of love a bit with the NBA, but that was the time where things were extremely stale. There was a lot of talk about, like gangster this, gangster that. And I don't know why, but there were no players that really caught my interest, and then came like Allen Iverson.
Oh, okay.
And then Allen Iverson took my whole heart from like 98 to like 02, 03. But then when that 03 draft came in, that was when AI was like slowly on his way down. I feel like every year, the NBA Finals was his peak, and then he just went down extremely quickly after that.
No.
I'm talking about like popularity and he being the face of the NBA, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
But
okay.
anyways, so then I was kind of tired of the whole like AI thing. I said, okay, whatever. And then I was excited about the '03 draft.
Yeah, the most anticipated one.
Excited to see who the Heat were actually going to get. Obviously, they had no chance of getting LBJ. That guy was going top 1. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There was talk about Bosch. There was talk about Wade. There was even talk about Chris Kaman. Apparently, Pat Riley, because he's so in love with bigs, the guy was enamored with Chris Kaman before his team said no. People are sleeping on this kid D Wade. You have to get this kid D Wade.
What is
I know.
he, Vince McMahon of basketball?
I
Just
know,
loves
but this
big guys?
is why he hates the draft, because he probably sucks at it. He trades all his draft picks for a reason, and he just acquires people. And then as soon as the '04 like playoffs came around, '04-'05 playoffs, that's when I really begun to say, man, this guy, he's taking that mantle of being my favorite player, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when they got Shaq, I was hyped. It was excitement. I was excited to be a Miami Heat fan again. But I was scared. I said, man, I hope this guy doesn't overshadow like D Wade. But no, in fact, it was the other way around.
Oh, yeah.
D Wade overshadowed his ass.
40.
And they would have not even gone anywhere if it were not for the heroic play of the homie D Wade. And then after that, of course, it went down a little bit. I was still a Heat fan, even though they had a terrible year. They went 15-67 or some shit.
Yeah, that was like the 07-08 season or something.
Though, and everyone was gunning for like a Derrick Rose, and they ended up with Beasley. I was disheartened, but I said no. If there's one guy who is gonna get it done, it's gonna be D Wade. And then he just like lashed out. He said, "Man, I need some help." And '09 came around. They got the biggest names around. They got LBJ and
10,
Bosch.
bro, 10.
09-10 at the end of that year,
Yeah.
and they cleaned it up, and I couldn't have been happier, man. I still remember that day. I pulled all of my D Wade jerseys out of the dusty closet. You know, they were all like tucked away in the box. And I said, man, it's time.
It's too bad we didn't get acquainted back then, because that two-peat season, the 2013 playoffs, I watched the NBA Finals at another friend's crib, and that whole house were pro Miami, pro LeBron in particular, because
That's crazy.
The one dude.
Nobody was pro Heat at that time. I was getting hated on in school by family, friends in Ottawa. Everyone was bashing me. I had one dude named Roy. Shout out to Roy. I had one homie named Roy who was down with me. And man, I'm gonna tell you something. The funniest moment was when like Ray Allen hit the biggest shot in NBA history. I think, at least, because of how crazy it was and all of the circumstance that had to happen. Tim Duncan getting subbed out, and like a rebound to Bosch, like a whack pass from Bosch. If it was passed from anyone else, it would have been too hard. But because he's so weak, it came perfectly into Ray Allen's hands. Man, I still remember I was freaking out before that shot. People were blowing up my phone. No lie, George, I had 60 plus text messages from people. The Heat lost. They're shit. They're this, they're that. And I was freaking out. I even had
moments prior to that shot,
moments prior, and and I even had my Mama Dukes, who was the only person in the house that was watching. I had been invited to so many bars and other places. I said, I'm not going, because if we lose, I'm going to get shit on. So I sat in my house with my mama, and I watched the game, and I said, Mom, pray with me. We did a prayer 2 or 3 plays before that. The Heat were slowly coming back. And then the shot heard around the world. Ray Allen, number 34. Bang. Jesus Shuttlesworth. Bang! Ray Allen! And the Heat have tied the game. I sent a reply to all of them 60-plus motherfuckers and said, the game is not over. Eat it. And then when the Heat won, I sent another fucking text. And then Game 7 came. At halftime, I knew we were taking it because the Spurs looked defeated already.
The momentum was there, yeah.
Man, it was tight. It was a 6-point Heat lead at halftime. And I fucking sent a text message to all of them people again. I reply all, and I said, eat it, back to back. We the best. Nobody replied. I got a phone call from the homie Roy, who I don't even talk to. At that time, even back then, I didn't even talk to him on a daily basis.
But he called you
still. He called me for no reason. He said, bro, we got this. We're champions. I said, yes, we're champions again.
Wow, what a story! What a legacy!
Yes,
what a fan you are, man.
definitely,
Sheesh.
man, definitely.
This guy, man. Well,
And it makes it equally depressing too, because he's 36. He's, I don't know how old he is now. 37. He's almost 38.
37.
He's still the best player on the team, man. We have nothing to go by, and that's that. And I'm sorry to him for his sorry ass team, because they couldn't even gather it together to actually make it in the playoffs for him. The Heat hadn't won 4 in a row all year, and they've been in the playoff hunt. They've been at least in the 8th place spot for over 2 months. Now is when they choose to lose 4 in a row, and fucking Orlando won 5 in a row, and they're now 6th or 7th place, and now you have 3 teams fighting for that 8th seed, and both the Pistons and the Hornets have the tiebreaker on the Heat. So the Heat have to win the last 2. They have to beat the Sixers that they've had a hard time with for 2 years because of Embiid, and the other teams have to lose. If any of the teams win, they're in. Over. And the Hornets are playing the Cavs tonight. So, and I think the Cavs have like 2.5 wins all season, bro. Like it's
yeah,
it's
is
a
pretty
done
sad.
deal.
It is
it's
pretty
a done
sad.
deal. They couldn't even make the playoffs for him.
How about I bring back the motivation for you and tell you about Wade's seed? You know, I don't know what his son's name is, but he's gonna be like Dwyane Wade. Zaire. I thought it was Zion, but Zaire is Wade 2.0. Like, what if
the other the other son is named Zion.
Also, there is another Zion in basketball. Okay, that's
Yes,
not
sir.
Williamson, but it is the same initials though.
Exactly.
So Zaire and Zion, like, what if I told you that in 5 years from now,
Bro, you sound like an ESPN 30 for 30. What
Hey,
if I told you?
I love to actually do a documentary with them or something.
100%, man.
That's the money right there. But what if I did tell you that
if I told you
Dwayne's 2 sons, or at least one of the 2, are like the next prodigy of the NBA? I would love to see those dudes come back and bring back the legacy that their dad built. And then next thing you know, they end up being like the face of the NBA, because you never know. I mean, yes, LeBron also has the chance with his son and his 2 sons. They both have 2 sons, so that means you're gonna have a battle of the 2 sons, the 4 sons. That'd be crazy. The 4 horsemen, man. Right there.
Crazy.
So, with that all being said, with Dwyane Wade, so Dwyane Wade himself, he announced it at the beginning that it was gonna be his last season, right?
Yes.
So,
and he wants to go out on his terms.
That's great. That's like Batista, who said he wanted to go out on his terms in wrestling, and he did. And unfortunately, he lost the Triple H. Spoiler alert.
Because you don't want to go out. Honestly, man, you don't want to go out like a loser, right? So.
And I feel like that's what's happening to Dirk Nowitzki right now, because they're planning his retirement for him. How does that make any sense?
He can barely walk, man, and I don't know why he's being so stubborn. Just quit, man. Just tell people I'm quitting. I heard him on the Zach Lowe podcast, and he said on the podcast, I'm only going to play additional years if I'm healthy. But, bro, you've been so unhealthy this whole year. You look like you're walking on broken glass, man. I never seen a person actually play like that. It's sad because this guy is such a great player. You know, he's such a great player.
And he just passed Will Chamberlain recently.
And honestly, I know there's always been a history between him and D Wade. The Mavs fans are even more pissed off as of the last couple of weeks at D Wade and at the entire Heat Nation, because D Wade took a subtle shot at Dirk, saying, or answering to a reporter. He said, I wanted to go out on my terms. I don't want to go out when people are having to call my name to get me off the bench. Just to add extra fuel onto that fire, because he and Dirk hate each other. They always have.
I mean, they got like history.
It's an unspoken hatred they have. And if you read the articles out there, you can hear it in both of their voices when you read those words or you hear the audio clips. I find it funny that they exchange jerseys, and if you look at that picture of them when they exchange jerseys, you could tell they were both trying to fake that smile hardcore, the same way you're faking a smile as a kid when you're on like the lap of like a Santa Claus at the mall, bro. It was the most uncomfortable picture I've ever seen.
With a yellow beard.
Definitely, bro.
So you mean to tell me, no pun intended, there's actual heat between those two?
There's mad heat. If you read the articles, they have a hatred for each other, and it stemmed back even before the whole thing about choking, because Dirk was playing with the flu and they had to blow their noses for him. It actually started back in 2006, because when the Heat won, D Wade went on the record saying about Dirk, and I quote, "The Dallas Mavericks lost because Dirk could not he could not properly lead them. He took a shot after that." And if any of y'all want to go, you can type it up. You can see those quotes. It's a direct shot at Dirk, and Dirk had it in his blood for all those 5 or 6 years until they met again, and that's when you saw Dirk unleash the Kraken on their asses.
And I love that he did that, because Dwyane Wade thinks just because he averaged 42 in that final series that he beat the Mavs in 2006, like that he's entitled to talk shit about a guy who I think is better than him.
Ooh, so you actually think that Dirk is better than? Wow.
How about we talk about another guy who thinks he's better than Wade?
Ooh, Paul Pierce.
Let's talk about Paul Pierce and Dwyane Wade and that whole controversy, because Dwyane Wade, even though right now he's all over the news, not only because he's about to retire, but the ESPN analysts were talking to Paul Pierce, and he said it with no hesitation that he has had the better career than Dwyane Wade. And then Jalen Rose, Mr. 81 Questions, he came out of nowhere. So yeah, bro, between Dwyane Wade and Paul Pierce, man, who has the better accolades, man? Who has the better accolades? Tell me.
He's made All NBA First Team twice. Paul hasn't done it. He made All NBA 8 times to your 4. He's made All Defensive Team 3 times to your 0. He's won 1 scoring title. You weren't able to win the scoring title. That's too bad. He has 3 rings. You have 1 ring.
That's all I gotta say, George. That is all you gotta say.
So stats on stats.
That's the most blasphemous thing I ever heard. Listen, I get the truth. He's trying to get people to actually recognize that he had game before the internet era came, and you could pull up clips or you could go online. So he's basically trying to say he was on such a bad team, they got no coverage from the big ABC, NBC, etc., ESPN. I get that, but you can't compare at all. I know the guy thinks he's like a big shot because of a couple of shots he made against the Raptors when he's playing on the Wizards and all that shit. But
bro, even as
Paul, I'm sorry, bro. Even as a small forward, I wouldn't even rank you in the top 15 or 20. And you're talking about a dude at shooting guard who is arguably top 3 or at the very least top 5. Come on.
But let's just be real, though. I feel like he shifted the game a little bit, though, and we never ever talk about that because it always goes they always throw this under the rug. The moment he teamed up with Garnett and Ray Allen.
Yep.
You know what that did, right? That was practically the reason why LeBron James created the Big Three.
Of course.
Whether you agree with that or not,
no,
that's the fact.
I agree 100%. He could not get past them. And that's why if you see LBJ, whenever the Heat during that era beat Boston, he took it personal, right? Man, when the blueprint was on the line, if the Heat lost Game 6 in Boston that year in 2012,
that could have collapsed the whole.
They were no. Pat Riley's on the record. He said, "I was gonna get rid of this team. I was gonna keep a couple dudes and trade everyone else." He said that straight up in many interviews. And LBJ said, "Fuck, I'm tired of this team. I ain't losing." And he had a look on his face.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The
face.
most devilish look I've ever seen in a player's face. And the one time I said, this guy's an assassin.
That was beast mode.
And one of the best games I've ever seen, by the way. Defensive and offensive.
He had like 45 and 16, I think.
And he had like 2 or 3 blocks, a bunch of steals. He shut down Rondo. He shut down Paul Pierce. He was not having it.
Bro,
he was not having
his facial expression the entire game was so serious. I've never seen LeBron so mad, so angry, so vicious like that. But if LeBron would have never left Cleveland, like I'm talking about the first time he left, if he would have stayed with them the whole time, I guarantee you the Celtics would have spanked them every single year.
Definitely.
Moving on forward from then. But that change, that whole trade, that whole move that they did, like the whole signing with the Miami, that really started like a whole war of the big threes. And I still feel like the Celtics could still beat them. Like in 2012, that year, they were one
game, bro.
one game away.
They were right there, man.
So even though LeBron decided to join the team and end up being like the villain of the NBA, he still almost lost again. And he could have got his ass taken home again 2 years in a row. But his killer instinct finally kicked in for once. And that's that. But right now, we're trying to shift the focus on Dwyane Wade.
Yeah.
I don't think Paul Pierce has a better career than him.
Definitely not. And I don't think it's close. I agree he had moments, but it's not that close, to be honest. If you put it all on paper, the only thing Paul Pierce can say is he has more points than D Wade by about 2,500 or so.
So that's like a whole season. Like
I get that, but you are comparing a guy who was a scorer, his job was to score, and you're comparing a guy who was a shooter, a shot blocker, also like a playmaker. He was everything, right? So I think if you put the stats on the table and you don't put a name to it, and I tell you to pick between the two, 100 people out of 100 are gonna pick the career of D Wade, man, right? So
and
I'd say the same for Dirk, by the way. I am not gonna let you go with that comment. Dirk is not a better overall player than D Wade. Like, Dirk is up there. He's top 40 all time, top 30. I
put him top 10 greatest white player of all time. That's for sure.
Okay, no, he's like a top 3 or 4 if you're going by white. Okay,
and if you want to specify,
if you're going by the Caucasian, bro, and if you're talking about international,
I was gonna say European.
He's the best international of all time, I think, to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
Obviously, other people, NBA diehards or basketball diehards, will say, well, there was Sabonis, there was XYZ.
No.
For example, a guy that was just inducted into the Hall of Fame, Vlade Divac. All of these guys had great careers overseas, but when they came to the NBA,
Dirk.
they didn't have that fire. Dirk came here young and fresh, and he killed it.
So, yeah.
But D Wade, he has a better career than Dirk. It's close, though. It's close. But at the end of the day, you have to take into account just the all-around game. I'm not just talking about points. Like, Dwyane Wade is one of the top 3 to top 5 best shooting guards of all time. MJ is definitely one, for sure. All of this shit about Jerry West, I'm sorry. I know we're young. We're 30, 31 years old. But even, come on, you can't compare. You don't tell me there's Jerry West over Kobe or D Wade, okay? Don't say it's recency bias. Don't even go there. Kobe, D Wade, 2, 3. I don't care the order that they go in, but these are my top 3.
I
MJ,
care.
Kobe, D Wade.
I care.
These are top 3 like 2s of all time. If you want to tack Jerry on there as the 4th, that's fine. But do not, man. The best is when I go to the barbershop or I go places and people are telling me Jerry West. People who are like younger than us or like the same age as us are telling me like Jerry West. I'm like, man, have you ever even seen Jerry West except for the NBA logo? You ain't even seen him.
They didn't even know he was the logo.
They don't even know that he played for the Lakers and he lost like 8 NBA finals or some shit like that. Like, if not more than that, man.
To me, the only person who would ever put West like ahead of anybody would be George Mikan. Like, why would anyone else ever do that? If you weren't born in like the Babe Ruth era, I don't see why you would ever put Jerry West ahead of anyone.
It's unbelievable. Top 3, MJ is number 1 for sure. You can go Kobe, D Wade, Kobe.
No, you can't.
Top 3.
I will fight you, bro. I will take you to the court, man.
Say
the legal and the basketball court. I don't care.
Say whatever it is you want. I give props to Kobe fans because they are passionate and
we're way more diehard than you, man. I mean, yes,
they're really hardcore.
You might surpass me in a diehardism because if that's even a word. Because
yeah, bro, go eat those Pringles. And
I've never been to a Laker game. I've never seen Kobe live. You literally
that's terrible, bro.
Touched Dwyane Wade. Unfortunately, you took the L that day.
I took a huge L. I don't want to talk about this L.
I know. I mean, I had to kind of throw it at you and slap you in the face with that. That's my verbal slappage to you. And all of that. And on top of that, you have a whole shrine in his man cave for Dwyane Wade. You just have everything of Dwyane Wade. But for me, I've just been a diehard Kobe fan. I don't need accolades. I don't need to show you physical, valuable objects to show you, hey man, I got all of his jerseys. I got I got his ring off of eBay from his parents that they put on. No, I don't need all that shit. I can just tell you.
I can never argue against a Kobe fan because I have a lot of respect for Kobe. I know how amazing he was. And I stopped arguing against Kobe when I was a diehard AI fan, and I just didn't have any more ammunition in the gun, bro. I couldn't fight back that much.
Yeah, the last thing you could say was Iverson stepping over Tyronn Lue. That was it.
But that's it.
Yeah.
After that game 1 win, I ran out of all of my ammunition. So I can't fight back against a diehard fan, but I can say these are the top 3 SGs of all time, bro. You're not gonna tell me Jerry West. I even heard some people talking on ESPN and other platforms about James Harden being a better all-timer than D Wade is. Are you crazy? What? Because he scores a lot? Okay, I get it, but he doesn't have anything else. He does not have a blocks history of all guards all time. He does not have all the titles. He does not have all of these things. I get the only thing he has up on D Wade is an MVP, but D Wade should have won an MVP during those years where LBJ he was winning all the MVPs. I think the first year that LBJ had the MVP, or
as a Cav or as a Heat?
The Cav.
The 08-09 season. Okay.
There was a year, 08-09.
That should have been him because that was the year where he led the league in scoring, I think, too.
And his PR was also higher than LBJ that year.
Oh, okay.
He should have won it, but LBJ, he was the story. I got it.
Not to throw some more shade in your face, but that was the one where Kobe hit that bank shot on Wade's face, right?
That was definitely
that game winner.
Yes,
son.
That was sick, a back and forth.
But listen, man, we're gonna have to cut this episode short only because George has other prior engagements. He set his priorities really straight tonight because he's got to watch that last game, and not only is he watching it, but he's got to watch it illegally. I hope the CRTC don't catch us.
Definitely, man.
But don't you have cable, man? Don't you have shit?
No, there's no cable, bro. I have Crave. I got Netflix, man. I got Amazon TV.
Maybe I should just pull it up on mine and we'll just watch it on my shit. I don't know. We'll look at it, but. Otherwise, Dwyane Wade, salute. 3-time, 4-time NBA champion, or is it 3 times?
3 times.
You see, I almost even overboosted your boy. I can't even. I got him confused for Big Shaq. So 3-time champion, All NBA, whatever Jalen Rose was basically saying. I'm repeating all of that stuff.
All NBA 8 times.
So if you're a Dwyane Wade fan, salute to you as well. I probably know literally a handful of them. I can probably name them on one hand how many diehard Dwyane Wade fans that go back to Marquette. I don't know if you were a Dwyane Wade Marquette fan.
I do. I did try to follow a bunch of those guys, but just the weeks following up to the NBA draft.
Okay. This was when the hype was going around for the draft.
So I'm not even gonna fake it.
So you're a fake fan. Okay, that's cool. You're a fake college fan or whatever. But you know what? At least you got him, and you didn't get freaking Darko Milicic or some type of bullshit.
Thank the Lord of how stupid the Pistons were, man.
Yeah, but he still got a ring in his first year.
That's true.
On the sideline.
Oh my God.
I don't know where he is, but maybe I should hit him with a rest in peace or something.
No, he is on a farm right now. He's a world-class farmer. You know that? Farmville, bro. Back home in Serbia or something.
Really?
Shit. Yeah, honestly, man. I watched a documentary on him.
Is he like a 30 for 30?
No, but there's an actual movie.
But is he making more money there than he had in the NBA?
No, but I know he's balling out because he's a world-class farmer. He's a world renowned farmer.
I could just picture him dribbling with his pigs and his freaking cows, and he's. All right, well, that's it for this week. It's a little short, but it's all Gucci. We'll be back.
Definitely, man.
We'll be back in the near future.
We'll have a nice long episode next Thursday. Don't worry, man. Trust me, there'll be a lot to talk about.
We're not supposed to tell them what day it is. You know what I mean? We try to keep that a mystique.
But they don't know if it's Thursday in January or if it's Thursday in April, cuz. So or
2020. Who knows?
I got you.
All right, 2 G's in the pod. We out.